Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving into the world of nature's ultimate superstars. We're going to uncover some of the most incredible and sometimes totally wild tricks that animals and plants use to survive in the toughest places on Earth. Okay, just imagine for a second, you're suddenly in the middle of the Arctic. Brrr! It is freezing cold, the wind is just howling, and there's nothing but snow and ice everywhere. Seriously, what would you even do? How would you stay warm? Now let's flip that around completely. Picture this, you're in a blazing hot desert. The sun is just beating down on you, you can't find water anywhere, and it's just sand for miles and miles. A totally different problem, right? How in the world could you survive there? Well, luckily for all the amazing creatures living in these crazy places, they don't have to figure it out. It's like nature has given them their own perfect built-in survival kits. They've got these special tools that help them live where pretty much nothing else can. And that leads us right to our big idea for today, adaptation. And trust me, it's not just some cool-sounding word. It's the ultimate survival skill that makes, well, all life on our planet possible. So what does that even mean? Think about it like this. If you've ever moved to a new house or started at a new school, you kind of know you have to get used to it, right? You learn where things are, you make new friends. That's you adapting, you're fitting in. And that's exactly what animals and plants do, just on a much, much bigger scale. So in science, an adaptation is any special feature or even a certain behavior that helps a living thing survive in its home. And here's the really wild part. These aren't quick changes. We're talking about incredible features that develop over thousands, sometimes even millions of years. Okay, let's kick things off with the animals. I always like to think of their adaptations as nature's coolest gadgets. Special tools that help them solve the biggest puzzles in whatever environment they live in. So our first puzzle takes us right back to that freezing cold place, the Arctic. The #1 challenge here is pretty simple, but also super serious. How do you stay warm when it's cold enough to literally turn you into an ice cube? Well, let's see how the Arctic fox solved this puzzle. First off, it has this super thick layered fur coat that works way better than any winter jacket you could ever buy. It even has fur on the bottom of its paws, like built-in snow boots, so it can walk on the ice without freezing its feet. And get this, its body is all compact and round to help keep all its precious body heat tucked inside. All right, let's jump to the total opposite. Out in the desert, the puzzle isn't about staying warm. Nope, it's all about finding water and trying not to overheat. And check out these incredible solutions. A lot of people think a camel's hump stores water, but it's actually full of fat, which it uses for energy when food is scarce. The fennec fox has those huge ears that act like personal air conditioners to let body heat escape. And my absolute favorite, a giraffe has a dark tip on its tongue to keep it from getting a sunburn while it's eating all day. How cool is that? Okay, another massive puzzle for pretty much every animal is how to avoid being someone else's lunch. Or on the flip side, how to sneak up on your own. The best solution? Become an expert at hide and seek. We call this camouflage. And some animals are absolute masters. The leaf-tailed gecko is so good, you could walk right by it and have no idea, because its body looks exactly like a dead leaf. Sloths move so slowly that green algae actually grows on their fur, which makes them blend right into the mossy trees. And of course, we gotta talk about the famous chameleon, which can literally change the color of its skin to match whatever it's hanging out on. So we've seen some pretty awesome examples, right? But how do we, sort all of this out? Well, it turns out scientists group all these amazing adaptations into a few main types. The two biggest types are physical and behavioral. A physical adaptation is a body part an animal has, like a cheetah's long legs for that super speed, or a fish's gills so it can breathe underwater. A behavioral adaptation is something an animal does. Think about birds flying south for the winter, or bears sleeping all winter long to save energy. It's really the difference between having the right gear and knowing the right moves. And then you've got these things called life cycle adaptations, where an animal's body actually changes as it grows up. The frog is just the perfect example. It starts as an egg in the water, then it hatches into a tadpole with gills living completely underwater. But then it slowly transforms. It grows legs, its lungs develop, until it becomes an adult frog that can live on land. It's like a built-in superhero transformation. But hold on a second. Animals don't get to have all of the fun. Plants are just as clever when it comes to survival. I mean, they can't exactly get up and run away, but they have some incredible tricks up their sleeves. Or, well, their leaves. Out in the desert, a cactus has that thick, waxy stem to hold onto water and keep it from escaping in the heat. In a super rainy rainforest, some plants have these special, pointy leaves called drip tips to help all that extra rainwater just run right off. And in a crowded forest, it's a race to the top. Trees grow incredibly tall to get sunlight, while clever vines just climb their way up the other trees to get to the light without all the effort. Pretty sneaky. Okay, so we've seen all these incredible tricks from both animals and plants. But what's the big deal? Why does any of this really matter? Well, it's actually pretty simple, but it is so important. This whole process of adapting is what gives us all the different amazing kinds of life on our planet, what scientists call biodiversity. Every single unique creature and plant you can think of exists because it found its own special way to survive. And that is what makes our world so beautiful and so full of wonder. You know, there's a quote that really just nails it. It says that adaptation is the process of change by which an organism or species becomes better suited to its environment. It's that slow, almost magical process of becoming a perfect fit for your home. So if there's one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this. From the polar bear in the Arctic to the cactus in the desert, every living thing has developed the exact tools it needs to thrive. Everything is perfectly designed for its own special corner of the world. It really changes how you look at the world, doesn't it? So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. Now that you're basically an adaptation expert, what do you think is the absolute coolest, most mind-blowing adaptation out there in the natural world? Thanks for watching.